Hey guys, so this assignment can be a little confusing, so I'm going to give some oral directions as well. It's kind of your assessment for the supply and demand unit. And just to let you know, the assignment is 3 demand cartoons, and each cartoon has 3 frames, and then 3 supply cartoons, and each cartoon of supply has 3 frames as well. So let's talk about the demand portion first. So one cartoon needs to indicate a change in quantity supplied. And that's the whole reason that demand is downward sloping, because at a high price, consumers are either less willing to purchase or less able to buy a certain product. So at a high price, the quantity demanded is lower, and at a low price, people buy more. It's just common sense based on a change in price that there will be a change in quantity demanded. Then you need to you need to do 2 cartoons that indicate a change in demand. And if you remember from previous, that's where the entire demand curve changes. If we had been in class, I usually auction off one of my mugs. And if you've ever seen my shark mug in the front of my room, I asked the class how many of you would be willing to pay 10 cents for this mug, and usually I get everybody, so maybe that's 30 students, and then I keep changing the price and to where the price is finally $10 for the mug, and I maybe have 3 to 4 people who want it, $20 a mug, maybe 1 person or nobody. So that's your change in quantity demanded based on the price. Then I change the scenario, and that's a change in demand. So imagine that the shark mug is made in gold, or if you drink from it, it makes you smart or live forever or whatever. So that's that change in something to the scenario where everything changes. So that was change in consumer preferences, or a difference on related goods or expectations, which is why toilet paper kept changing, is because people were worried about expectations of shortage. Anyway, so you need to have 2 graphs that show a change in demand where the entire demand curve would change, and 1 graph or cartoon where there's a change in quantity demanded. So your rubric is below. I'm going to grade an economic concept. Do you understand the concept? Is it visually supported? Are you creative? Is spelling and grammar correct? And then you have to have at least 1 demand cartoon show a labeled graph. So I'm being a little redundant here, but you're going to show a change in quantity demanded, 1 graph on that, which is due to a change in price. And then you're going to show 2 graphs where either the demand decreases or increases. So 1 is decrease, 1 is increase. And then here are your changes that'll cause the entire curve to change. And that's consumer taste and preferences, number of buyers. We just have more people in Fort Collins. Consumer income. Right now, because of the pandemic, consumer income is dropping. So people have less money to spend on new clothing or new furniture or buying a new car or going out to eat. So consumer income is lower because a lot of people have been laid off. Cost of related goods. That could be a substitute like Coke and Pepsi, or it could be complementary goods like skis and bindings. If I buy skis for really cheap, I need bindings. Or it could be expectations, what I think the future is going to be, which we saw a lot of people who were like, oh my gosh, we're not going to have any toilet paper in the future. I need to stock up for a year. So that is a change in demand. So you need to have 2 graphs, change in demand. 1 graph is movement along the curve, which is change in quantity demanded due to a change in price. So here's an example that I made, and you can listen to that recording as well. I told you how to insert the art and the call-outs where the person's talking, the I love burgers called a call-out, and then how you do that. So this example is a change in quantity demanded. It's due to a change in price. In this cartoon, the change in the price of hamburgers is going down. So because of the lower price, more people buy hamburgers. So then the next part, after you do the 3 cartoons on demand, you have 3 cartoons on supply. And same thing, you need 1 cartoon is a change in quantity supplied, and that's the seller or the company or the business or the firm or whatever you want to call them. This one's a little harder because instead of thinking like a consumer, which we all are, you have to think about it from the business perspective, the person who's producing the product. So a change in quantity supplied is movement along the supply curve. At a high price, businesses or firms will provide more. At a low price, businesses or sellers will provide less. So that's that change in quantity supplied. It's movement along the curve. And then you've got the change in supply. So confusing. I wish economics didn't make it this confusing, but change in supply means the entire curve is shifting right or shifting left. And then again, you're graded on economic concept, visual support and creativity, spelling and grammar, and you need to make sure one of your supply cartoons has a graph with supply shifting left or right. So one more time, a change in quantity supplied is due to a change in price. And then one cartoon on that, and then two cartoons, one on a change in supply, a decrease, one on change in supply, an increase, and you've got all these different things. So if the price of inputs goes up, supply decreases, it shifts to the left. If the price of inputs goes down, supply increases, it shifts to the right. You could have a change in the number of sellers, either an increase or decrease. Technology tends to shift supply right. Price of related goods would be corn and soybeans. If the price of soybeans goes really high, my mom, who has a farmland in Nebraska, can switch back and forth between growing corn and soybeans. And if the price of soybean goes way up, she's going to switch from growing corn to soybeans. Expectations on the future. Wow, super uncertain right now. But maybe we're going to bounce back super fast after this crazy demand shock and supply shock in the marketplace from the pandemic. Or maybe some businesses are going to be like, man, it's just too risky to start. So that's pretty unknown right now. Tax is a cost. If it goes up, supply decreases. If taxes go down, supply increases, shifts to the right. Productivity means we're more productive and we produce more. And then government regulations, which is what we're seeing right now, in that businesses have to close based on COVID. And so, hairstylists are gradually being able to open. Restaurants will soon be able to open. But, a lot of those businesses in the month of April had to close down. So I saw a huge decrease in supply shifting to the left. So you need to pick two different things that will cause supply to increase or decrease, that change in supply, and then one graph on that change in quantity supply. And then this example shows an increase in supply due to productivity. Notice the last panel of the graph is supply shifting to the right. It's increasing, which actually caused a lower price and a greater quantity. So you have a lot of time for this project since it's not due till Friday. So here are just some recommendations to kind of help you plan. First off, I would plan my cartoon. What do I want to convey, and how will I convey that message? Then I would look at, do I understand the economic concept you plan to focus on? So am I looking at substitutes for demand changes or, expectations? What concept am I really focusing on? Then go ahead and find the art and design and layout. Day one, maybe you want to focus on a change in quantity demanded and a change in quantity supplied due to a change in price. Because both of those, the curve is not shifting with a change of price. It stays the same, it's just movement along the curve. Then maybe day two, you want to focus on the two change in demand curves or cartoons, where the entire demand curve either increases or decreases due to one of those factors that cause it to change, like consumer preferences or number of buyers or whatever. Then maybe day three, you want to focus on the two change in supply cartoons, where the entire curve for supply moves left or right. So, and then day four, maybe you want to proofread, check for accuracy, spelling, grammar, etc. So plan your time wisely. You've got plenty of time to do this. And I'm going to provide two different online class sessions for you to ask questions, because in the past, we've had a lot of questions for this assignment. So hope you're having a great day, Lobos, and hope to see you soon. Take care. Bye now.